my stars, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Basil, and today I will be reading Impact the Champion by Reka_77 on AO3. This is the second part of the Impactverse series. Now, here's a summary. Ashido Mina manages to get a pass for an underground arena for a while. She brings along Kirishima, and the two of them see Impact in action. Out of all the combatants, he proves why he is the champion. Eijirou thought today would be a normal day. Just get through school, dream about being a hero, and then go back to bed. But his friend, Ashido Mina, had other intentions. Apparently, she had something to show him. Come on, Kirishima! Miko could only get me 2 passes to the underground fighting matches, Mina said to him cheerfully. He didn't know why she was always hung out with him. She was confident and striking, and her quirk was powerful and versatile. Are you sure about this, Ashido? I mean, this sort of thing is illegal, right? He asked. Come on, Kirishima. I don't have anyone else to bring. I don't trust anyone else, Mina said to him. It's only once. Trust me. Eijirou knew there was no making her give up on this goal. When she got something on her mind, it was something she would pursue to the very end. It didn't even matter that he had never met Miko. He would be dragged along with this regardless. An hour later, he was at the entrance to a club, forged ID in hand, waiting to be let in. Apparently, whatever club they were in was so seedy they didn't even check his ID. Or Mina's. The only thing the bouncer said to him was in a whisper, "Tell the bartender you want the Yokohama special." As he passed by, he caught something similar being told to Mina as she also passed the bouncer. "You speak," he whispered to her as she got into the bar. It was a dirty, crowded place, filled with people of all ages, some much closer to their age than the legal drinking age, although nobody really seemed to care. Hell, some of the people here looked like they were regulars, and they couldn't be older than 16. Fine, Mina muttered from beside him, although next time you're going to do it. He nodded along with her, while at the same time mentally reminding himself to never do this again. Just being here caused a lump in his throat, and they weren't even at the really illegal things yet. Mina grabbed his arm and yanked him to the bar. He stumbled a bit but regained his posture as they got to the bar. It took a short time, but Mina managed to get the attention of the bartender. Hey! The bartender had blue-black hair, ordinary toned skin, and a dusky brown eyes. But her most important feature was an ivory-colored horn that extended several inches from the top of her head. What does the young couple want? The question made him blush a bit, and he was about to stammer out that they weren't a couple, but Mina beat him to it. Oh no, we're not a couple. We're best friends. Oh, exclaimed the bartender. I'm sorry for the assumption. Now, what would you like? She asked in a kinder voice. We're gonna have the Yokohama special, if you don't mind, Mina replied, saying it seemingly effortlessly. As soon as Mina finished talking, the bartender stiffened almost unnoticeably. Unfortunately, I don't know that drink. That made Eijirou tense up. Of course, the first time he would do this sort of thing, it would fall apart. But the bartender continued talking. If you could go through the door and get some of the ingredients that you need for it, I'll see if I can whip something up. Kids these days are thinking up all new crazy drinks. She pointed at the nondescript door with someone subtly standing guard. They weren't that tall or large, but taking just one look at their face, Eijirou knew that this guy knew how to fight. Instead of engaging as they approached the door, the bouncer gave a subtle, almost unnoticed nod. Swallowing down his nervousness, he opened the door, which revealed a staircase going down. Mina went ahead of him again. So that gave him a chance to look at the other side of the door. Soundproofing covered the other side of the door, and he could already hear the loud music and cheering noises coming from the second door. A quick going down the staircase later, and opening the second door, a blast of music. Sounds of fighting and the cheering crowds greeted his ears. The smell of sweat and booze permeated the air, and the basement he was in was crowded with people. Some of the men and teens in the crowd were shirtless, yelling out in support of Charger or Mako, whoever they supported. The lump in his throat was forgotten about, replaced instead by a tingling sensation running through his body. Excitement. He belatedly recognized. Mina pushed through the crowds until she found the two of them in an empty spot, where they could see the fighting. Currently, there was a guy with a shark mutation quirk fighting this one guy with 4 arms. Go on! Grab him! Here's your fishing move already! Beat him up, Mako! Show him stars! Fuck his shit up, Charger! Show that fucking fish who's boss, Charger! Eviscerate the son of a bitch, Mako! The discordant cries combined together. Eijirou's focus losing them from them and focusing on the savage fight going on. Charger was using his 4 arms to effectively block and attack at the same time, somehow moving fluidly with an extra set of limbs. But Charger was nothing compared to the guy with the shark mutation quirk, Mako. Despite having half of the arms, the battle was nearly even, as Mako was moving nearly twice as fast, even getting in the occasional punch or kick. However much it looked like the shark dude was winning, Eijirou knew it was going to be obvious that he would lose. He was using too much energy, enduring his stamina. It was obvious to him in how the shark dude slowed down slightly, and how his movements became slightly sloppier. He'd watched hero fights on occasions, and this was what the heroes were better at doing, outlasting the villains and eventually winning. And it seemed like this wasn't unnoticed by his competitor, the 4 arms guy, Charger, who paused for a second and aimed a quick kick at the shark's side. The hit landed, and the crowd went wild, shouting renewed jeers and cheers. And the shark guys tumbled on the ground, rolled to avoid a flurry of punches, and then got up and blocked yet another punch aimed for the place where the kick landed. But the shark guy was on the defense. That much was clear. With every blow to the body of the shark man, the crowd shouted, screaming wildly. Something cracked in the shark man's, probably a rib. Eijirou had a faint thought about sharks not having bones, but it was quickly swept away by the largest outcry from people around them. Yet men tearing off their shirts, screaming, and he couldn't help but join in, yelling for the 4 armed guy to knock that fucking fish out. So, swept up in the tide of the fight, he didn't notice Mina doing a double take at his friend swearing. And Mako was indeed knocked out, tumbling on the ground after so many blows. The announcer was shouting numbers over the din, but the crowd quickly joined in around 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mako did not get up. Charger is the winner! The announcer yelled in a booming voice over the sounds of people loudly yelling. Charger, in a sign of good sportsmanship, carried his unconscious opponent out of the arena. Now it's time for one of our final matches. In the red corner, we have the champion of the fighting arena, 40 rounds undefeated. It's Widowmaker. Eijirou saw a large man walk into the arena. He was shirtless, bald, revealing the piles of muscles he had, as well as the multitude of tattoos covering his body, almost completely. Everything from dragons to kanji for pain and death. So manly. The few women in the audience called out several scandalous remarks, and a not so insignificant amount of guys as well. And of course, there was an almost deafening roar as he was announced. And in the blue corner, a person going from arena to arena, having fought almost 200 matches and only losing 2. It's Impact! Lights he hadn't seen before turned on, revealing a figure standing there. For someone who had supposedly done so much, they weren't that big at all. But they were shirtless as well. Giving Eijirou a good look at him, muscles stood out tightly cornered around thin yet powerful limbs. Their face was similarly sharp, set in steely determination. Scars dotted their body, marring the otherwise smooth skin of Impact. Everything from cuts to a sharp-looking scar he doesn't recognize. Unlike his competitor, Impact had no tattoos, which caused the scars to stand out even more. Unlike the roaring tirade that greeted Widowmaker, everyone was silent, totally and completely, as Impact strode into the fighting arena. Every step from Impact radiated confidence and power. Like the fight was already won. Eijirou was good at gauging people's more subtle reactions, and he could see that despite being almost twice as high and certainly several times as large, a titan of a man, Widowmaker was slightly nervous seeing how sure Impact was. The moment the fight was called, Impact rushed forward at the speed that seemed impossible. Widowmaker's fist dented the arena, caused cracks to appear on the concrete ground. If Impact was ever hit by one of these fists, he would be knocked out immediately and probably even die. But that fact didn't seem to perturb Impact. The much smaller teen, he couldn't be older than he was, easily dancing around the powerful blows, despite how fast they came. For a big guy, Widowmaker certainly was no slowpoke. But Impact had him beat, easily moving twice as fast. His punches strong for his small size, almost impossible so. There was a general description of the quirks of the competitors provided. Widowmaker's quirk was listed as Powerful Punch. Impact was listed as Quirkless. Eijirou had to give it a second look. It was indeed that. Hey, Mina, he whispered. Impact is quirkless. I know, she whispered back. Just watch the fight. Indeed, everyone was silent and mourned by the fight. The sheer power that Widowmaker dealt, Impact dodging by every small margin, determination in his green eyes, his black hair slicked with sweat. Impact landed dozens of punches, side, chest, stomach, face, no matter what, the blood streaking down Widowmaker's body. Flowing down his body, covering his tattoos, Widowmaker was still standing barely. Although he was listing slightly, the battle would be over soon. Dodging between arms larger than his legs, Impact landed a fist on the man's chin, delivering a punishing uppercut blow. The crowd exploded as Widowmaker's chin jerked up and he began to fall backwards. Silence took over again as the large man fell onto the ground. The loud thud when the giant of a man collided on the ground reverberated through the entire place. Dead silence. The announcer almost whispered the countdown, but it made it to everyone's ears. When the countdown reached 0, and Widowmaker still did not get up, the crowd exploded into cheers. Eijirou couldn't help but join in. Seeing this tiny guy take down that titan of a man was an amazing sight. Two large men carried off Widowmaker, and it was obvious that two of them were struggling. People were cheering, money was exchanging hands. He saw someone pass Mina a 2,000 yen note. Everything was good. Police! Someone yelled. Police are here! Doors opened out of nowhere. Mina pulled him through one of them, and they managed to escape. No officer. We don't know about any fights. Alright, my stars. That is the end of the second fic of the Impact verse. I really hope you enjoyed. I know I did. Oh, I love this one. This was the first one that I read out of the series. And then it got me into the rest of the series. Ooh, how I love it. I love fighting Ring Izuku. It's so good. And the writing here was amazing. I really hope you enjoyed it though, and if you have any comments on the fic, you can pop them down in the comment section below. As well as recommendations for fics you want me to read, because I'm running out, guys. So you can also put them down in the comments below. My socials and Discord server are in the description. Go check them out. And don't forget to eat, sleep, drink, take your meds, do whatever you need to do to take care of yourselves. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye, my stars.